I would like to welcome Venkatakrishnan sir to speak regarding Antar Mauna, immerse in dynamic silence within. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Srinivasanji. Hari Om, everybody. I welcome you all. There are umpteen meditation techniques now available in this world, yogic world. The Bihar School of Yoga is very special in a very important factor, which I consider very important, is they follow the tradition from Swami Shivananda, who got initiated from Shringeri Parampara, and we have a tradition. And generally, traditional people teach in a particular way, and they won't open up, if you notice. But the beauty about Bihar School of Yoga or Satyananda Yoga is it's open to scientific inquiries. So it's a bridge between the earth and the sky. So that's a great thing about it. And one of the meditation techniques, to be very precise, a beautiful Pratyahara technique is Antar Mauna. All of us are familiar with the meaning. Mauna is the silence. Antar means inner silence. And immerse in dynamic silence within. See, if you see the people who are introverted, like the people who love to dwell in their own mind, the creative side of the thought flow or analytical side of the thought flow, let them be scientists or let them be creative people, they tend to be silent. They don't express themselves in a very big way. There are exceptions available always. But when you do proper meditation, you are capable of sitting in a cave for 3 days or 4 days or whatever time. And when you come out, you can motivate maybe thousands of people. That should be the personality when somebody does meditation. Meditation should not make somebody go deep and be silent there. It should mend the personality or amend the personality in such a way, transform the personality in such a way that one should be capable of going deep within, at the same time express himself in a very nice way. Yeah, this is a very, very famous quote by Swami Satyananda Saraswati. I would love to read it once again. Yoga is not an ancient myth buried in oblivion. It is the most valuable inheritance of the present. It is the essential need of today and the culture of tomorrow. I think it is happening now. Both the things are happening simultaneously. We are facing a lot of challenges. Like, let us say, for the past 1.5 years or 2 years, we are having a lot of difficulties in the running a normal life itself. Everybody is stressed out, and whether somebody is doing business or whether somebody is having a shop, it doesn't matter. Everybody is having a lot of stress, including my friends who run their yoga studios. They have difficulty. Nobody is coming in. There is no footfall. So everywhere there are challenges, and yoga is certainly taking care about it. And Swami Satyananda told it will become part of the culture. And I know many people who are not doing yoga before 10 years, now doing asanas and pranayama every day. So it's slowly getting into the lifestyle of each and everyone living in this globe. And the word, the culture of tomorrow is going to happen very soon. And in this occasion, I offer my pranams and namaskarams to Swami Shivananda, Swami Satyananda, Swami Niranjanananda, and Swami Satsangananda for all the transformations which have happened inside me, and for all the transformations happening all over the globe thanks to this particular yogic system. And when I take the topic Antar Mauna, obviously I refer to the resource materials provided by Swami Satyananda Saraswati, and some of the talks given by, and YouTube lectures given by, the practices given by Swami Niranjanananda Saraswati. Now, when we say meditation, what is meditation has become a very big question. There are many schools of meditation. Somebody gives a mantra, you keep on chanting, it is called meditation. Somebody asks you sit quietly, observe your breathing, it's called meditation. So what is meditation? We have to go to the great grandfather of yoga, our sage Patanjali. We know this Ashtanga Yoga. He suggests so many things. Ishvara Pranidhana. Of course, he starts with Abhyasa and Vairagya. And then very important, he talks about one Kriya Yoga where you do Tapas, Svadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana. And the most famous one is this Ashtanga Yoga, which is divided into Bahiranga Sadhana and Antaranga Sadhana. We have divided it like this because he talks about Bahiranga Sadhana separately. And I think most of the people, I mean, some 70 participants are there. I assume most of you are familiar with this. I'll go through this very fast and then we will get inside the main topic. Yama are the rules which talk about how do you relate with the outside world. Interpersonal relationships are, I mean, if you want to translate it in the present, application, you can call Yama as interpersonal qualities or the capacities which you have to develop in order to do proper meditation or proper to attain samadhi. And niyamas are intrapersonal capacities, like how do you deal with yourself? And then asana, all of us know the postures. Generally, when we say yoga, people think it is asanas. The people who are here, we know yoga is not limited to asana. Yoga means it has a very big, a large canopy of very many domains. Then pranayama, where externally at the gross level, you control the way you breathe, but actually speaking, you develop a capacity to manipulate and handle the pranic energy within you. That is real pranayama. Then pratyahara. From my experience, I can say the best pratyahara techniques are available in Bihar School of Yoga, Satyananda Yoga. One of the most famous technique is Yoga Nidra. All of you must be familiar with it. There are umpteen Yoga Nidra things available, but nothing is comparable to the way in which Yoga Nidra is being taught by Bihar School of Yoga. So all these are called Bahiranga Sadhana. And let us come to Antaranga Sadhana. Antaranga Sadhana is otherwise called by Patanjali as Samyama. All of us are familiar with it. The Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi together is called Samyama. Dharana means focus with effort. Dhyana means effortless focus. I am using English translation to my comfort. Dharana means focus with effort. Dhyana means effortless focus. It just flows. Then you have Samadhi, oneness, and total Samyama is the Savikalpa Samadhi, in which you lose your identity and become the Alambana on which you are focusing. I mean, I focus, let me say, for example, I focus on the Patanjali, the Rupa, the Murti of Patanjali. When I do proper Antaranga Sadhana, what happens? I forget myself and only the Patanjali remains. So this is the base for discussing about yoga. All of us whoever lives in South India, or maybe the people who are religious, know what is this picture. In Tamil, he is called Tenmuga Kadavul, Mauna Guru. Thayamanava Swami calls him Mauna Guru. Why am I having his picture? See, I always had a desire, whenever I studied Bihar School of Yoga, what is the comparable Tamil tradition which talks about the same thing? For example, when I read about Yoga Nidra in the year 2000, I searched for the equivalent Tamil word and I found out Ari Tuyil. If you have been familiar with Abhirami Ammai Padigam, it just comes Kalayada Kalviyum Kurayada Vayadum. In that he says, அலையாழி அரிதுயிலும் மாயனது தங்கையே அரிதுயில். அரிதுயில். Vishnu, he is in Yoga Nidra. Arituyil is Yoga Nidra. Like that, I wanted to find out, is there any deity, is there any system which talks about Antarmauna? And I came upon one shloka in Tiruvilayadal Puranam. Final 2 lines, it says, சொல்லாமல் சொல்லி நினையாமல் நினைந்து கல்லாலின் புடையமர்ந்து நான்மறை ஆரங்கம் முதல் கற்ற கேள்வி வல்லார்கள் நால்வருக்கும். The 4 people are sitting there. They are very elderly people. They know Veda, they know Vedangas, they know all the Shastras, but they didn't know what is Samadhi. And here, Lord Shiva is sitting in the form of Dakshinamurti in a particular way. And it says, சொல்லாமல் சொல்லி நினையாமல் நினைந்து பவத்தொடக்கை வெல்வாம். சொல்லாமல் சொல்லி நினையாமல் நினைந்து. There are 2 silences possible. Sol, the words, when they go away, there is a silence. The sounds, when you feel a state of consciousness where there are no words and you feel a silence. The deeper silence is when the consciousness is in the presence of a thought-free atmosphere, then that is the real silence. So here we have an example. Lord Shiva, in the form of Dakshinamurti, is sitting in the utmost silence, and that gets radiated to the disciples sitting there, and they feel one with him. What is it? How is it possible? When we see Antarangama sadhana, it is possible. When you can do samyama, dharana, dhyana, samadhi on a given alambana, then you can become one with that particular alambanam, that particular focal point. Here for these people, he is the focal point. They feel the silence felt by the bliss-filled silence felt by Dakshinamurti in themselves, inside them. They become one with the silence, they lose themselves. Is it possible for us? Do we have that sort of pratyahara, and do we have that sort of capacity to do dharana, or are we qualified to lose ourselves and feel that blissful silence? I don't think so. I am not having that sort of capacity to do samyama on Dakshinamurti and feel that silence. So obviously we have to get the help from Swami Satyananda Saraswati, who has devised a way, the Antarmauna practice, where we can move step by step to reach the state of samyama, the capacity to do samyama, so that we can feel the bliss. Next slide, please. First slide, stage 1. So what do we have to do? Our Pujya Swamiji has given Antarmauna stages, 6 stages. These stages we are classifying in order to understand in a better way, but these are seamless. Okay. Now, before getting into Antarmauna, somebody may say, I am not interested in this samyama or attaining mukti and all. I am not a mumukshu. I am not interested in these techniques, sir. I would love to say the way in which you go, the Antarmauna stages, one in the 6th stage, you attain the state of consciousness in which you can do samyama and get into the full, deep, bliss-filled silence. Then what about these 5 stages? They are practically very, very useful in our daily life. So please stay with me and listen to each stage. And I think we will have enough time to do a small practice of Antarmauna also. So be prepared. we will get the clarity about the way in which we have to do Antarmauna, and we will go through a practical session also. So we will have a glimpse of the practice of Antarmauna. Okay, good. So what is the first stage of Antarmauna? Awareness of sense perceptions. You and I are not capable of doing a dharana continuously on a given alambana or the focal point. Am I right? Many of us, there may be somebody who may be accomplished meditators, but for all practical purpose, we are bombarded by the sensory stimuli from outside, isn't it? And our mind goes outside continuously. Visual stimuli, sound stimuli, smell, taste, touch, isn't it? So how do I withdraw myself so that I can watch my own mind with a better clarity? That is why we do the first stage, where we do awareness of sense perceptions. When we do the practice, you will understand in a better way. In this stage, what are we going to do is, we will close our eyes so that we can cut off the visual stimuli. And we will obviously, we are breathing and we are closing our mouth. Fortunately, we are living in the cities or in the towns. Whoever is watching this, we have lost our subtle sensory capabilities of smell and the taste. Thankfully, that helps us to dwell into our meditation. So these two do not disturb us in a very big way. What are the other three? The visuals, sound, and the sense of touch. And when we do the practice, I'm keeping it, for the end. So we will understand this stage. When you become a master of this stage, you can have a full available capability to watch the thoughts. Second stage, please. Awareness of spontaneous thought process. Once you are capable of withdrawing yourself from the external stimuli and capable of sitting like a breathing statue with closed eyes, what happens? You can focus on the Chid Akasha, the mind space behind the closed eyes. When you keep your eyes closed, even now, just try it. When you keep your eyes closed, what do you see? You are drawn inside and some thoughts come and dance, isn't it? Open your eyes, please. So what happens? Spontaneously, thoughts come, thoughts go, multitude of thoughts come, procession of thoughts come. So many things happen. So you watch. In this stage, you become a witness to the thoughts, your own thoughts. You start observing. Understand now, when we do the practice, we will be doing it, and you will be surprised to know, hey, I am capable of watching my own thoughts. I am somebody else, another entity who is watching my own thoughts. You will be able to do when you do the practice of Antarmauna, after the clarity we will get after discussing all these stages. Good. Stage 3, please. Creation and disposal of thoughts. See, there is a difference between stage 2 and stage 3. Stage 2, what happens? You will be observing your own thoughts. After some time, you gain a lot of power, willpower to observe your thoughts, not to get carried away by thoughts. That defines the difference between a human being and other living beings. Other living beings are driven by the software. They are driven by the thoughts continuously. They can't stand apart and observe their own thoughts. Only a human being has that capacity to witness his own thoughts. That is the power of intellect, power of will. Here we develop that power. You can become an entity who observes your own thoughts. Listen carefully. You can observe a mind space free from thoughts, Chidakasha. And you can choose a thought, plant it, and as soon as you plant it, it will bring all its relatives and friends. For example, I ask you, think about your mother. As soon as you think about your mother, you will immediately get the thoughts of the cooking done by your mother. In my case, the small onion sambar and idlis and dosa, whatever it is. My mother is very good at cooking. I mean, you get a chain of thoughts. So many thoughts are all the beautiful, sweet experiences which your mother took you to temples. She explained about so many things. She told you so many stories. All those thoughts will flood and you will be having a lot of thoughts. And what do you have to do? Remember, you plant a thought, it will bring all its relatives. What do you have to do? You dispose. You do like this, swish, all the thoughts will go away. Then you plant another thought as told by the Acharya who is teaching you Antarmauna, maybe a negative thought. Think about a person who cheated you. You know, isn't it very powerful? We usually suppress negative thoughts. Am I right or wrong? It is a right thing. We cannot forgive, we cannot forget. These things remain underneath and at the unconscious. During Antarmauna practice, these things come out. I mean, I'll go one more step. There are a lot of phobias. When you were a kid, you would have got shocked by somebody showing a knife. Somebody, for example, maybe your uncle, maybe your cousin, they were cutting their vegetables. You were 3-year-old and they showed you the knife. Maybe it could have created a shock. Or I don't know. There are a lot of reasons for phobias. Maybe when you were inside the womb of your mother was watching a movie and got terrified. That also gets transferred to you when you are inside the womb. It also can create a phobia. There are a lot of possibilities. When you plant a negative thought in the stage 3, what happens? It brings out a lot of unwanted emotions. Or it can be a shocking experience which happened to you when you were a kid. Somebody beat you. I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of other possibilities, bad possibilities, worse possibilities. When you imagine that, when you put that thought, it brings out a lot of unwanted thoughts. And here, thanks to the Acharya who is giving you Antarmauna practice, you are listening to his voice and you maintain your Sakshi Bhava and you observe your phobias dancing before you. Once you become aware of it, you gain the capability to switch off, to dispose those thoughts at will. Most of the times when you observe, they lose their ability to disturb you. Sometimes you erase them. By continuous practice of Antarmauna stage 3, it's a very important stage. You understand, hey, I am not a slave of my mind. I am a master of my mind. Antarmauna is like stepping on a ladder, one by one, one by one. You do each and every stage. Every time you climb with the help of Acharya, you gain more and more willpower. You gain the power to face yourself, your own good and bad. All of us are a combination of good and bad. You observe the good also, you observe the bad also, and you understand, hey, I'm neither good nor bad. I am somebody, an entity, a Purusha Tattva who is observing my expression of Prakriti. It's a very important stage in Antarmana. Next stage, please. What is the fourth stage? Awareness and disposal of spontaneous thought. What is the difference between stage 3 and stage 4? In stage 3, you plant a thought. Good thought you plant. Bring all the train of thoughts. Good thoughts. Nice one. But you say no to it. Erase it. Dispose it. Similarly, you plant a bad thought. Worst thought. Very negative thought about a negative personality or a negative thing which happened in your life, or whatever you consider as negative, you plant it, you get explosion of negativity, but you understand, hey, I am a witness, and you gain the capacity to erase it. But here, in the stage 4, you are in a state where the negative and positive implantations stop creating chain of thoughts. Do you get me? Now you are in a deeper silence where you observe your own mind in a deeper silence, where you get very, very little thoughts, but they come up, still they come up. Spontaneous thoughts come up, and you dispose those spontaneous thoughts also. You don't plant anything, they come up. Again, they come up, you erase. Here, you are trying to get into a thought-free state. Sometimes, I told you, these are seamless. We are dividing for our comfort. We are trying to understand each stage. But here too, the Acharya who is teaching you the Antarmana may ask you to plant a thought, again create a train of thought, erase, and again watch at the spontaneous flow after attaining that state. Stage 5, please. Now, awareness of inner space. Mostly in this stage, mostly you will have a plain, thought-free. I'm using the word carefully, thought, it's not thoughtless, thought-free. The thoughts are there, but they do not disturb you. You don't have to kill your thoughts. You don't have to become somebody, Kshatriya who is killing all your thoughts, fighting with your thoughts. You gain the willpower to understand I am a Purusha Tattva, and thoughts lose their power. You get in touch with the infinitude within you. The finite things lose their power to disturb you. That is the stage 5. And stage 6, please. In this stage, stage 5, you attain full pratyahara. A very, very powerful pratyahara state where Guru selects, he knows you, he selects a psychic symbol. It can be a full moon, it can be a glowing sun, or it can be a particular tantric symbol, it can be a Shivalinga, it can be a Meru, it can be a Sri Chakra, it can be Lakshmi Yantram, it can be a Ganapati Yantra, it can be a small cool white light. He decides, Guru decides and introduces that symbol to you. What will happen to you? Just think, you are in the state of pratyahara. Nothing disturbs you. You close your eyes, you can sit in silence for a long time. Nothing disturbs you. If a spontaneous thought comes, you have the power to erase it. Or just you do like this, that vanishes. We will answer the, reserve your questions for the final thing. After the practice, we will deal with the questions. Okay, good. Now you are in a pratyahara state, very deep pratyahara state. That is, you are almost free from all the disturbances of thoughts. You are free from thoughts. You are observing the Chidakasha, and Guru gives you a symbol. What will happen? The symbol will become very powerful, and you lose yourself, and you become the symbol. You become whatever you are observing, and your whole energy gets, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa uses a particular simile. Somebody asked him, what happens during deep dhyana? What happens during samadhi? He says, it is like a salt doll trying to measure the depth of the ocean. So you lose yourself in the ocean of divinity, and you attain Savikalpa Samadhi, in which you lose yourself in the Alambanam, on which your Guru has asked you to do the Dharana. Super. Now we have seen what are the stages of Antarmauna. 6 stages are there. What is the most important thing? You should not drift into sleep. 2 things happen whenever you get into any good meditation practice. What happens? If you are a highly rajasic person, you would have left the lecture by this time. You cannot focus and listen. You are interested in activities. If you are sitting here, understand you are a sattvic person. You are capable of going through Antarmauna practice. 1. 2. What is the other thing that can happen? Somebody may gone into sleep by this time. We've been talking for a long time. You may drift into sleep. So if both the things have not happened, drifting into sleep or getting away, you are a balanced, relatively balanced personality compared to crores of people doing something else, and you are fit for Antarmauna practice. And Puja Swamiji says, Antarmauna stage 1 is very powerful. Even the people with phobias, even the people with difficulties, conflicts, pressures, tension, stress, they can do stage 1. So it is open for all. I'm not able to see any one of you, and I trust all of you, wherever you are. Sit in a comfortable meditative posture. Sit in Sukhasana, Sulabhasana, it's okay. Don't hang your legs. Sit in a comfortable meditative posture. If you are comfortable with Siddhasana or Padmasana, fantastic. Sulabhasana, what we call in Tamil, Chaplangal will do. Just sit in a comfortable meditative posture. Keep your back, neck, and the head in a straight line. Obviously, keep your eyes gently closed. I'm going to chant a mantra, and then we are going to start the practice of Antarmauna. Keep your fingers in Chin Mudra comfortably on your knees. Let your back, neck, and the head be kept in a straight line. Keep your eyes gently closed. Consciously rotate your shoulders. Relax them to the best possible posture. Your shoulders are relaxed, upper arms hang loose, lower arms are bent nicely at the elbow, fingers are kept in Chin Mudra. You are sitting in a very comfortable way. Bring your focus to the center of the eyebrows, Bhrumadhya, and please listen to the mantra being chanted by me. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Observe your own body, whole body sitting here comfortably. Observe the sensations on the top of the head, back of the head. Feel the air around you touching your skin on the face, around the neck. Feel the chest region, stomach region, arms and the palms. Feel the hip, thighs, knees, calf muscles, ankles, top of the feet, bottom of the feet. Observe the whole body from the top of the head to the base, sitting here comfortably. There may be some discomforts felt by few people. There may be some itching sensation. There may be a little bit of pain in the muscles, anywhere in the body, maybe in calf muscle, knee muscle, thigh muscle. Do not move your body. Observe. Now, listen to the sounds around you. If you are wearing the earphones, the sounds may be less, but still, mind is extremely capable of listening to subtle sounds around you. Try it out. They say when people do this practice in the forest, they listen to the sound of cats jumping. You know, a cat, it walks very, very soft. People can listen to it. People could listen to the rustling of the grass, falling of a leaf, flowering of a flower. Can you imagine? People could listen to subtle sounds. Listen to the subtle sounds around you. Probably somebody walking outside the room, some vessels being moved in the kitchen, slight noise of the traffic beyond the door of your home, maybe the sound of a television, maybe the humming of the AC in your room, maybe the humming of the motor of the ceiling fan above you. Try it out. Trying is important. Try to listen to the subtle sounds around you. Very good. Now shift your focus to your breathing at the nostril region. Observe the sensations on the nose bridge and the nostrils. Observe the sensations within the inner walls of the nose. Can you feel the cool air coming inside the nostrils? Observe the slow incoming breath, the air rubbing against the inner walls of the nostrils. It's a very subtle sensation. If you observe closely, it sends thrills within you. It may send horripulations in your body because you feel the flow of prana if you do dharana on the breathing. Observe the warm exhalation. Cool inhalation. Warm exhalation. It's the most comfortable observation you can do at any point of time in your life. All through your waking state, if you feel stressed, just close your eyes. Do this practice of observing the breathing inside the nostrils. You'll be surprised. The more you observe the breathing, less and lesser speed it attains. The breathing becomes so slow that you will be astonished. Hey, am I breathing or not? Most of you may be feeling like this now. Observe. You are observing the slow inhalation and the warm exhalation. Very good. Now bring your focus back to the eyebrow center. I'm going to chant the mantra Om thrice. Chant along with me. Om. 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 Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Release the palms. Rub the palms nicely. Apply the center of the palms on the center of the eyes. Stare at the darkness behind the palms. Let the energy from the palms heal your eyes. Close your eyes. Bring the palms to Namaskar Mudra. Gently open the eyes. Very good. We just did the Antar Mauna stage 1. Srinivasan ji, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir. Solunga, sir.
Only 3 people are there in the chat. I think the line has got cut. The Zoom link has got
sir.
cut.
No. Chat they are doing. I will unmute, sir. They can ask questions, sir.
Okay.
I will unmute everyone, sir.
Yeah,
I will unmute.
Thank you. Let us open up the session for questions.
Yeah, they can ask you questions, sir. Right? I had made unmute, sir. Okay, fine.
Yeah, can we please go to the next next slide. We will, before questions, we will just see the benefits in a very, very, very brief manner. First one is, whatever stress you have, you can relax. You would have felt it. Relaxation. Obviously, when you become free from the sensory stimuli, this is first stage, understand. It is so powerful. When you go to the stage, next stage, you will feel deeper levels of silence. So that relaxes you obviously, and increase the capacity to focus. This is also obvious. When you become free from conflicting emotions, conflicting thoughts, chain of thoughts, your capacity to focus becomes empowered. When you develop the capacity to focus, all the works you do, whether you are doing cooking, whether you are writing codes for your software, whatever work you do, you can do in a better way. What is the third one? Clarity about oneself and his role. Very, very important. Now I am seeing so many people being confused. I'm taking classes to many people now. Shall I continue with my business? Shall I drop it and do some other business? Shall I have been doing this work for the past 20 years in IBM or in TCS. Shall I leave the job and go do organic farming or natural farming because I'm coming from a village? People get into a lot of questions about what am I doing? What shall I do with my life? How do I empower myself? How can I do the best possible thing in my life? Antarmauna helps. It makes you free from the clusters of thoughts. Especially it makes you free from the thoughts imposed by the society, from the school, from the college, from the family. You know, all those things has conditioned you. The thoughts have conditioned you in a particular way. When you do Antarmauna, you gain the courage to do your Swadharma. Do you understand Swadharma? What for you are born? What prarabdha you had to go through? That you can check it out with your Acharya, with your Guru. After doing Antarmauna and getting these thoughts, Swamiji, or these thoughts, Acharya, shall I pursue this? And you can analyze, spit it out, laser thin, and then pursue with full focus. Whatever energy you have, put your whole dharana in that particular identity, particular role. You can't escape identity. You need not escape. You have to take up something, give your life for it. That is the beauty of life. And that clarity, that self-discovery, what for I am born, will happen when you do Antarmauna consistently. It relaxes you. It gives you excellent capacity to focus in course of time. And in the finale, it teaches you what for you are born. What other thing a meditation can do with you. This is a beautiful meditation. Learn it from the proper traditional teacher and it will give you all the benefits. Good. Next slide, please. Thanks a lot. I enjoyed this session. I thank each and every one of you for taking part and taking participation in this and getting the benefit of whatever small meditation we have done. We did only stage 1, that also not in full. Okay, and I take this opportunity to offer my sincere, heartfelt namaskarams to all the gurus, Gambhiranand ji, Vajrapani ji, and my friend Shivrishi, and who introduced Bihar School of Yoga to me, and Swami Niranjanananda Saraswati, and the glorious tradition of yoga. Thanks a lot. Hari Om. Thank you very much. Now we will take up the questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Only the questions, please. And I found one question. I think it is from somebody known as Ruchika. What is the difference between this particular practice and Yoga Nidra Antarmauna? Am I right, Ruchika?
Yes, sir.
Good. It's a very good question. Yoga Nidra is also a powerful Pratyahara technique. All the people who are into Bihar School of Yoga, nobody can escape falling in love with Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra does miracles. The difference between Antarmauna and Yoga Nidra is Yoga Nidra is a passive pratyahara technique. This is an active pratyahara technique. That is the major difference. And I don't know why you asked the question ajapa japa and antar mauna. Ajapa japa is a totally different practice where you are focusing on a chakra, where you are focusing on a psychic passage. It's a totally different practice. Antar mauna and Yoga Nidra have lot of similarities. Good. Ruchika, do you have further any rider questions?
Yes, sir. Any good link for Antarmona guided practice?
What, any good?
YouTube video or link which is
If you
guided.
ask me personally, nothing like learning directly from somebody, because I had the luxury of learning like that, and I have seen the profundity when you learn directly. If you learn from a recorded Antarmauna, I can suggest you only Swami Niranjan's Antarmauna, which is available in YouTube. Go through the beginners one for a long time. Don't jump into the advanced level, you'll be sleeping. Okay? Even Yoga Nidra one which you listen to, go with the beginners one for a considerable amount of time to gain that witness attitude, then go into intermediate, then go into advanced level. If you want to go through a practice which is available in YouTube, I suggest the YouTube recordings given by Swami Niranjanananda Saraswati. And if you want Yoga Nidra one, I know our Gambhirananda Saraswati Swamiji has given a recording that you can take it from the Chule Ashram.